I think we also need to understand that these estimates are all somewhat conjecture, in that making this transformation is a huge undertaking. And we need to expand our medical capacity in this country. We need more nurses, we need more doctors, we need more beds in hospitals, and we need to think in terms of preventative care, not in terms of reactive care. And in doing that, that's a process. There are going to be upfront expenses that seem high, but we don't measure in the number you just put forward. We don't measure the unseen cost of that parent who doesn't dare to take their child out to the snow hill, or of the people who stay in jobs that they hate simply because they have benefits when they could be doing something that they love and contributing far more. You know, we don't see the people who aren't hired because of health care cost. We don't see, at least most of us aren't looking, what it costs when someone ends up in the emergency room acutely sick when they could have gone for a preventative care initial visit at 1/10 or 1/15th the cost. So I think we need to move forward on, not just based on dollars and cents, but on knowing that an ounce of prevention is still worth a pound of cure, and it's nowhere is that more true than in healthcare. And also looking at, what are we willing to spend on our military establishment? What are we willing to spend? The estimates for Iraq, right now range between $2 and $3 trillion before we're done. If we can do that, we can make sure that every person has equitable and quality access to our system.
Currently, the United States ranks 19th in the world for the graduation rate. What would you do as U.S. Senate, as a U.S. Senator, to increase educational opportunities and our educational standing in the world?
Sure. Three things to start with. One, we need to recognize that it isn't, test scores that make students, but rather it's quality instruction and engagement in their learning. And so I would put our focus in supporting education to be on instructional best practices. Okay, we know a lot more about learning than we ever have. If we support teachers in being great at their craft, we'll have far better results than if we simply kind of beat them with a stick at the end of the day over test scores. There are also a couple of things that are be very cost effective. One is opening up access to universal preschool would be a tremendous investment for this country and would more than pay for itself. When you look at students that come out of impoverished homes, they enter first grade usually 2.5–2.7 years behind their peers. Universal preschool would help them close that gap, by the time they're done with first grade. And a great investment, because students that enter first grade at grade level are far more likely to make it all the way through school. If they start behind at the beginning, by the time they get to 7th or 8th grade, they're still a couple years behind. It's really hard for them to finish. Also, across Maine has a lot to be proud of when it comes to what we've done to support education, our educational reform movement, of which I've been a part for 20 years, and our support of early college experiences and supporting our students in college. But nationally, we need to do far more. It's the best investment we can make is to support people's education. One short-term step that I would suggest is that we take AmeriCorps, expand its mission, and allow every student who participates in AmeriCorps, for every 1 year of service to the country, a student or a citizen should get 2 years of in-state tuition credit to be able to pursue his or her education, whether it be in traditional college or non-traditional. Last thing I'd like to mention is that we need to fundamentally reevaluate what we think success in school is and what we think intelligence is. And our measures right now are primarily aimed at linguistic and logical intelligence, and there are many, many students who are geniuses who are discounted because their strengths don't match the strengths that we hold most dear. We need people across the spectrum of intelligence to develop their gifts, to contribute to society. And so within our schools, we need to think of assessing students through a full array of assessments and of instructing them through a full array of instructional strategies so that everyone gets to develop their gifts and to contribute.
High school students across the nation are worried about the rising cost of college. What would you do as U.S. Senator to reassure them that college is possible and affordable?
Well, the program that I just mentioned, the School to Service program, would be on the front line there.
Okay.
I think we also need to look at, during the last administration, we've raised college tuition loan rates in an effort to save money. And we need to recognize as a people that, one, we should care about our students and we should help them because it's the right thing to do. But from a business point of view, we're shooting ourselves in the foot every time we try to save money by limiting anyone's education. A high school student that makes it, a high school graduate that also graduates from college, okay, is going to earn $1 million or more over their lifetime, okay, more than he or she would have if they ended at their senior year and went to work from there. So not only that better for them and their families and for the level of skill they're able to contribute to society, it's also another $1 million or more of taxable income there. And so the upfront investment of let's keep those college tuition loan rates down, and let's open up multiple pathways to help kids get in, like the AmeriCorps program I mentioned. Those are great business investments for this country. And too often we look at social justice and fiscal responsibility and we think that they're going in two different directions. They need to be part of the same equation. If we do the right thing, in this case, helping every student, whether they be 45 years old or 18 years old, get to school, that's the best business investment we can make for this country, and we shouldn't apologize for that. It's a smart thing to do, and it's the right thing to do.
Let's start the highly contested presidential election. Who do you support for president?
Oh, I will fully support whoever the nominee is.
Okay.
I think both have a lot to offer, and I'll throw my full weight behind either one of them. Just to be transparent, I was a very strong Edward supporter early on. I was saddened when he withdrew, but I understand why.
Okay. How critical is this 2008 election to the nation?
Absolutely critical. We're reaching across a wide variety of issues: healthcare, the environment, education, foreign policy, where we're reaching really a critical mass of problem. And if we don't fix these things now, it'll increasingly, with every year, get more difficult to fix them. You know, if the medical industry, insurance industry, the prescription drug industry with every year they get more entrenched, okay, the harder it is going to be to change them. If our foreign policy continues on the direction that it is, we'll burn more and more bridges around the world. With the environment, if we don't produce smaller carbon footprint and help the rest of the world to do that as well and lead on climate change, we're going to pass a point of no return probably in about 10 years. So this is an absolutely critical election.
Okay, wrapping up our time together, what would you tell a Maine voter for June 10th to earn their vote?
I would tell them I'm one of you, and that I don't need a new career. I have a great life, and the educational field has been very good to me, and I miss the classroom every day. But I would go to Washington fully cognizant of what it means to cut Medicaid funding, or to up local tax rates, or for people not to have health care, because I've worked shoulder to shoulder with Maine people for over 20 years. And it's the lack of leadership, the lack of boldness, the lack of willingness for somebody to say, enough is enough, our people need us, we need to invest in our people, we need to invest in our communities, we need to build a stable and sustainable economy that helps everybody. And we can do that. It's well within our reach. We simply need political will, and we need politicians that don't want a new career, but rather are going to serve for a limited amount of time. They're not worried about the next election, they're just worried about the people of Maine. You know, the average senator needs to raise, $4,000 to $7,000 a day, okay, depending on the race, to pay for the next election. And subsequently, our level of discourse has narrowed, our level of solutions have narrowed even more. I would go and be beholden only to you and all of the people of Maine, and they can count on me to stand on the floor of the U.S. Senate and to withstand whatever pressures are there, and to work for them and for all of our kids every single day.
Thank you for coming on the program.
Oh, thank you.
Good luck to your campaign.